How does wealth change our perspective of the world? This question has been a source of intrigue for many. It's a prevailing belief that money can't buy happiness, but it undeniably offers comfort, freedom, and opportunities that can significantly alter how we perceive the world around us. Wealth, in its most basic definition, is an abundance of valuable possessions or money. But it's more than just the tangible assets. It's the capacity to make choices, to influence and to shape our surroundings. It's the ability to turn ideas into reality, to make a difference, and to live a life of comfort. As we acquire wealth, our worldview can undergo a profound transformation. The once distant dream of a comfortable life becomes a reality. The world, previously a place of challenges and struggles, now appears to be a playground of opportunities. Suddenly, there's a chance to not just survive, but to thrive. However, this transformation isn't always rosy. With wealth comes responsibility, and with responsibility comes the pressure to maintain and grow the wealth. There's a need to navigate complex financial landscapes and to make decisions that can have far-reaching implications. It's not just about preserving the wealth, but also about using it wisely. Wealth also changes our social dynamics. Relationships can be influenced by wealth, and interactions with others can be dictated by our financial status. Our understanding of the world can be clouded by the bubble of privilege that wealth often brings. But wealth also provides a unique platform to make a difference, to contribute to society, and to leave a lasting legacy. In the coming minutes, we will examine this transformative journey through the lens of individuals who have experienced this shift firsthand. These case studies will give us a glimpse into the lives of those who have seen their worldview change as they climb the ladder of wealth. We'll explore the stories of a philanthropist, an isolated tycoon, and a fearful entrepreneur. As we delve into these stories, we'll uncover the transformative power of wealth. It's not just about acquiring assets, but also about how these assets change us and our understanding of the world around us. Scene script. Meet John, a self-made millionaire who decided to give back. John's story began in a small town where opportunities were as scarce as gold dust. His parents worked tirelessly to provide for their family, but they struggled to make ends meet. This early exposure to hardship planted the seeds of resilience and ambition in John's heart. As John grew older, he ventured into the city with nothing but a dream and an unyielding spirit. He dipped his toes into various ventures, faced numerous rejections, and even tasted the bitterness of failure. But John, with his unwavering determination, continued to forge ahead. Eventually, his persistence bore fruit, and he found success in the tech industry, becoming a self-made millionaire. But as he climbed the ladder of success, something began to shift in his worldview. He saw his wealth not just as a personal achievement, but as a tool that could be used to bring about change. He began to see the world not just in terms of profit and loss, but in terms of needs and solutions. His perspective expanded from wealth accumulation to wealth distribution. John's journey into philanthropy was not a sudden leap, but a gradual transition. He started by supporting local charities in his hometown, then expanded to funding educational and healthcare initiatives in underprivileged communities. He used his wealth not just to improve his own life, but to uplift those around him. He embraced the belief that wealth is not just about luxury and comfort, but about responsibility and impact. He realized that the true essence of wealth is not just in having, but in giving. And in this giving, he found a sense of fulfillment and purpose that he had never experienced in his pursuit of wealth. John's story is a testament to the transformative power of wealth. It shows us that wealth can change not just our material circumstances, but our perspectives, our values, and our roles in the world. Wealth can be a catalyst for change, a tool for impact, and a bridge to a better world. John's wealth didn't just change his life, it changed his worldview. Now let's consider Alice, a tycoon who found herself isolated by her wealth. Alice started her journey just like any of us, with a dream and enough ambition to fuel a rocket. She built her empire from the ground up, brick by brick, until she was standing atop a tower of wealth that seemed to touch the stars themselves. But as her wealth grew, so did the distance between her and the world she once belonged to. She found herself perched on a lonely summit, looking down at the life she used to lead. As Alice's fortunes rose, she began to notice a shift in the people around her. Friends and loved ones started treating her differently, their conversations laced with subtle requests for financial assistance or business favors. Strangers too approached her with avarice in their eyes, their hands outstretched for a slice of her prosperity. The more people reached out to her, the more Alice felt herself pulling away, wary of their intentions. Wealth, Alice found, had a way of warping relationships. It cast a shadow over every interaction, making it difficult for her to discern genuine affection from mercenary interest. She began to question the motives of those around her, their every action scrutinized under the harsh light of her newfound cynicism. Alice's trust in people dwindled as her bank account swelled. Friendship, she discovered, was a luxury she could no longer afford. Her wealth had erected a wall between her and the world, leaving her in splendid isolation. She had everything she ever wanted, and yet, she felt a profound sense of loss. The people she once held dear became unwitting casualties of her success. Alice's wealth had not just altered her lifestyle, it had fundamentally reshaped her view of trust and friendship. She became skeptical of others, her perception of people tainted by the corrosive effects of wealth. Alice's story shows us how wealth can shape our view of the people around us. It serves as a stark reminder that wealth, while it can provide material comfort, can also breed isolation and mistrust, changing our worldview in ways we may not anticipate. Finally, we have Michael, a successful entrepreneur who began to fear losing his wealth. Michael is a classic example of a self-starter, a man who built his fortune from scratch. He started with a small tech startup that soon exploded into a multi-million-dollar enterprise. His journey was not easy. It was fraught with challenges, failures, and countless sleepless nights. Yet he persevered, and his efforts paid off handsomely. However, as Michael's wealth grew, so did his fear of losing it all. This fear began to seep into his everyday life, transforming his once daring and innovative approach to business into one filled with caution and anxiety. He found himself constantly worrying about the stock market, his investments, and the economy. He started to see risk everywhere, even in the most promising of opportunities. The fearless entrepreneur who had once embraced uncertainty now found himself avoiding it at all costs. He became overly cautious, second-guessing every decision, every investment, every opportunity. He started to hold back, to resist taking chances that could potentially lead to even greater success. This fear did not only affect his business decisions but also his personal life. He became more reclusive, spending less time with friends and family, and more time monitoring his wealth. His fear of losing his fortune started to overshadow the very joy and satisfaction that his success had initially brought him. What's interesting here is the paradox of wealth. The more Michael had, the more he had to lose, and the more he feared losing it. His wealth, which should have brought him security and freedom, instead brought him anxiety and constraint. His fear of losing his wealth changed his perspective on risk and opportunity, and ultimately, on life itself. Michael's story is not unique. Many wealthy individuals share similar fears. It's a clear reminder that wealth can be both a blessing and a curse. It can provide opportunities and freedom, but it can also create anxiety and fear. Michael's experience illustrates how wealth can amplify our fears and shape our choices. We've seen how wealth can change our perspective in different ways. It's like a prism, refracting a single beam of light into a spectrum of colors, each representing a unique view of the world. Let's take a step back and revisit our case studies. We delved into the life of the philanthropist, a person who used their fortune as a tool to better the world. They saw their wealth not as a personal asset, but as a resource to be shared, a means of making a difference. It's a perspective that's altruistic, focused on the collective good rather than individual gain. Then we shifted our gaze to the isolated tycoon. In stark contrast to the philanthropist, this individual viewed their wealth as a protective barrier, isolating them from the world. Their riches became a fortress, a safe haven from the perceived threats and uncertainties of the world outside. It's a perspective that's defensive, fueled by a desire for security and control. Finally, we looked at the fearful entrepreneur, who saw their wealth as both a reward and a risk. They were constantly on edge, fearing that one wrong move could cause their empire to crumble. It's a perspective that's anxious, marked by a fear of loss and a drive to constantly do more and achieve more. Each of these perspectives is unique, shaped by the individual's experiences, values, and fears. Yet, they all share a common theme: the transformative power of wealth. It's not just about the material possessions or the financial security, it's about how wealth changes the way we see the world, the way we see ourselves, and the way we see our place in the world. While wealth can open up new horizons, it also reshapes our worldview in unexpected ways. So, how would your perspective change if you became wealthy?